we can use a momentum that is complete. We only use momentums that are complete and they are significant enough to have a pullback. So for example, this low momentum is complete since it has an opposite momentum that is already in trend right now. This upper momentum is incomplete since there's a significant pullback from that momentum. So for you to establish whether a momentum is complete, it has to have a differing momentum that is already occurring against it. So for example, we can draw a Fibonacci that is from at one tipping point to the next tipping point. Just as arrows are drawn, we will draw a Fibonacci from one tipping point to the next tipping point. Let's have an example of the said drawing. So we're just gonna erase the arrows and we are gonna draw the Fibonacci. Right, so you just click here and we do the Fibonacci retracement, and so we're gonna use Fibonacci retracement on that. So we're gonna pick any tipping point and we are gonna use the Fibonacci. So I'm gonna use this momentum, this tipping point from this low to this high. So let's draw. As you can see, it starts from a 1 and it ends at 0. So when I start pressing, it starts at 1 and I enlarge it towards the end of the momentum, which was this, which is going to be the value of a 0 here. So we are going to also draw another Fibonacci from this high point to this low point. So we're gonna start at the point where the trend starts, right here, and we're gonna drag it all the way to the tip. The 1 starts from the start, the 0 ends at the end of the trend. That's another one. Okay, so we're gonna draw another Fibonacci from another point. We're gonna start with this low point to this high point. So we're gonna start at the low point, stretch it to the high point, like right there. So the 1 starts at the beginning of the trend and 0 ends at the end of that trend. Okay, so we're gonna draw on another pair. We're gonna use another different pair. So let's delete all that. Okay, we're gonna start from this tip on the low to this tip on the high. We're gonna draw a Fibonacci from this low and to that high. So the 1 again starts at the start of the trend and the 0 ends at the end of the trend. We'll draw another one still. Let's draw a Fibonacci from this low to this high, which is the top of the trend. So we're gonna draw from the lowest part of the trend to the highest. So as you can see, 1 starts at the start of the trend, 0 ends at the end of that trend. We're gonna draw another from this high to this low. We're gonna start from the highest point of that trend to the tip of that trend. So 1 again starts at the start of the downward trend and 0 ends at the end of the downward trend. So we're gonna try another downward trend from this point to this point. So we're gonna draw a fib from that point, from the start of the downward trend to the end of the downward trend. And again, 1 starts at the start, 0 starts at the end. I'm gonna use another pair. So on this other pair, we are gonna use we're gonna start using the downward trend. It starts at the tip of the trend to the end of the trend, so we're gonna draw fib from there all the way to the end, like that. So this is a whole trend from the start of the trend to the end of the trend. That's where the fib starts and ends at. We're gonna draw another one for this upward trend, so it starts from this low point to this high point. So we are gonna draw again, we are gonna draw from that point all the way to the high point right there. Again, 1 starts at the start of the trend, 0 at the end of the trend. We are gonna do another trend, for example this trend right here, from high to low. So the tip starts at here, the lowest ends at here. So we're gonna draw a fib from there all the way to the end. Again, notice 1 starts at the start, 0 ends at the end of that trend. We're gonna draw for another pair. We're gonna draw for this case scenario from this high to this end of the trend. So we are gonna draw from the start all the way to the end of the trend, all the way to the end of the trend. So again, 1 starts at the start, 0 ends at the end of that trend.